Alright guys, what's going on? It's Viral here, and today we are back at it with another video for you. This is going to be featuring the final boss, Adam Warlock, in this month's event quest, Seed of Doubt. So the nodes that we have to deal with here on him are use it or lose it. So when the attacker fills a bar of power, they have 6 seconds to use a special attack where 20% of their max power is instantly drained. So you have to be quick with using your special attacks. Sensing Souls increases the defender's ability power rate by 100% while the attacker is suffering from a debuff. Usurpation. The attacker's total combat power rate is reduced by 100% every 15 hits on the attacker's combo meter. And steal 100% of the bar of power from the defender, gain 100% of the power stolen. And attacker special burst lockdown 3. Whenever the attacker activates a special attack, the defender is afflicted with both a heal block and an armor break debuff lasting 15 seconds and reducing the armor rating by 40%. So a couple of difficult nodes that you have to be aware of when you're fighting him. He also has 400% health and I think 50% attack boost there. But you gotta be aware of how he is with his stasis pod. So when entering the stasis pod, he gains a regeneration buff, healing 10% of missing health over 2 seconds unless suffering from a soul barb effect. His power meter, he passively gains 2.5% of a bar of power each second, but his power combat rate is reduced by 25%. When Adam has his power stolen, he stops gaining power over time. He also cannot be power drained. When Adam has his power drained or burned, he gains a non-stacking 50% energy passive for 12 seconds. And against non-mystic opponents, his ability power rate cannot be reduced, unfortunately. So trying to use Void or Quicksilver is not going to work to reverse his power gain. But his Sovereignty counter is landing his first special attack 1 or 2, it can activate it, and Adam gains a non-stacking buffs lasting 2 seconds, refreshed when the opponent receives a hit from any source. So breaking the opponent's block with the first hit of the Sovereignty counter increases by 10 instead of 1 on his first hit, and the first hit he gains an unblockable buff. So if you have anything to counter it, that'd be good. 10 hits he gains a true damage buff, 20 hits he gains precision, 30 hits he gains a fury buff, and 40 hits he gets a huge fury buff, increases his attack rating by 6750 for a minute, and it's paused when the Sovereignty counter is active. The Sovereignty counter and all above non-stacking buffs are refreshed and paused when Adam is inside the stasis pod during the special attack 1 and 2, and when it expires it goes on cooldown for 10 seconds. Additionally, activating the Parry Mastery stun effect will end his Sovereignty counter and above the non-stacking buffs. As a defender, when Adam or his opponent are struck by orc block attacks 20 times, Adam gains a Sovereignty buff for 15 seconds. This buff cannot be nullified, staggered, or fate sealed by a champion, so it's very important to remember that you can't nullify, stagger, or fate seal it, and he gains immunity to nullify, stagger, and fate seal. And also, stun debuffs inflict by the opponent's parry mastery suffer 100% ability accuracy, so you can't stun him. And once per fight, as a defender, if Adam started the fight with more than 25% of his max health, when he reaches 25% and after a 2-second delay, you'll see he enters the stasis pod for 2 seconds. Once per fight, as an attacker, double tapping the block will cause him to go into his stasis pod. But when it is active, he is locked into place, can't use any attacks, all incoming damage is reduced by 75%, he instantly regenerates 74% of all incoming damage unless suffering from a soul barb effect. He gains the energy protection buff as well, granting immunity to shock, incinerate, cold snap, and frostbite for a minute. And when emerging from the stasis pod, he gains invulnerability for a quarter of a second. And Adam immediately emerges from the pod if the opponent activates special 3, not granting his benefits against the attack. And yeah, on special attack 1, when Adam has his personal precision buff, the final hit inflicts a stun debuff. And after his special 2, he enters the stasis pod for 2 seconds. This ability can trigger multiple times in a fight. The energy protection buff gained from the stasis pod only lasts for 3 seconds. And his special 3 gives him that non-stacking huge fury effect. And when the opponent strikes into the pod, they have a 100% chance to be inflicted with a stun debuff for 2 seconds unless suffering from a soul barb effect. We're going to go in at Thronebreaker difficulty. Haven't fought him yet, so I'm not really familiar with his special moves. And I just go in and try to use Neutralize because Stagger and Fate Seal shouldn't work, or Nullify. And we're just going into the fight. He has a special 2. I went in and mistimed that, and he goes into his stasis pod, so I back away. Neutralize got rid of any buffs though, and then he gets Sovereignty here and uses a special 1, and I'm getting intercepted here, and it's not going too well for the first fight. But I placed a couple ruptures on him, get the Neutralize going, get him roughly down to 80% there, yeah, around 80%, and he comes at me with a special 3 because of that passive power gain. So he hits with the special 3 here and ends Moon Man there, Rintra. Rintra is down, unfortunately, so that was the first fight. And now we go in with Wiccan, thinking this fight might go a little bit better. I go in for a heavy attack, get a power gain buff, and then go for the Neutralize with the light ending combo. And then I go for Incinerate. And I go in and make the mistake again of attacking in there, and I attack his stasis pod, and we see that it's a 100% chance to be stunned if you attack into it. And I learned the hard way there and got clipped, and that was the end of that fight. So I'm thinking Black Widow Clairvoyant would be a good counter because her special 2 inflicts a buff immunity debuff, which will prevent Warlock from gaining any buffs. And she has good power control in her poison state and special 2. So I'm going in here, just trying to avoid that special 1 to get clipped at the end. Still unfamiliar with his moveset right now, but we're getting through it at least. And we get clipped a little bit again there. He uses a heavy attack, and I come back here. And we're doing decent damage. Switch to my Incinerate, and I wait out that stasis pod, and it did a good burst damage and special 2. And we're going in here, and we finish with the Striker Iron Fist there, and we get the win there. So that wasn't too bad with Black Widow Clairvoyant. I feel like she's a good option for this fight. Any neutralized opponent, once you get the moves down, could do this fight fairly easy. We decide to try Tigra against Warlock. I think she would be a great counter once you know his moves. This is my first attempt. Again, don't know the spacing yet. Not the best Tigra player, I'll admit. Yeah, I mistimed that heavy too, and I get clipped there as well. But you guys are going to see in a moment. I try this attempt again, and it goes way more smoother. Just got to show you the first attempt and how bad it went, but I was doing okay. But I exited out there because I got clipped at the end. And here is a good attempt. and actually a solo. So when everything goes right, it's pretty good. I have my senses up there. He is neutralized, not gaining any buffs, and I go in for a heavy, and I perfectly counter it, and I'm inflicting ruptures, spamming my heavy attacks, get an intercept there with my heavy, and then at the distance go in with my special 2, look at all this rupture damage. He's just melting down, goes into a stasis pod, come in with a heavy attack, and then cancel into my special 1, and he is down. And that was a very, very quick fight with Tigra. It was only 31 seconds, so that was great. And if you're a good Tigra player, you could probably do this fairly easy. So yeah, that was that fight. And then I go in here with a couple other options. I try Spider-Man 2099 just to try to reduce the combat rate. I had the anti-venom synergy that places the wither at the start of the fight, but you can see that Warlock's bar of power continuously goes up, so it is not reducing his power rate at all there. But we're gonna go in and just attempt to fight him here. Ideally, what you want to be doing is just baiting out the special 1 if you can, like that. Because if you push him to a special 2, he has more beams. It's a little more difficult to dodge. You'd be taking more block damage, and he goes into that stasis pod as well. So that isn't too fun to deal with because you have to wait it out. Because if you attack him, then you're going to be stunned, unless you have a stun immune character. So we go in with Dr. Doom this time, but you'll see here that you don't really gain any power, or you're gaining very limited power. So you can't do a Doom cycle with this fight, because he's just reaching his bars of power a lot quicker than you can, unfortunately. But Dr. Doom's still doing some good damage. Mine's at rank 4, 200. But I get clipped there at the end with his special attack. And I was further demonstrating with Quicksilver here that you can't reduce his combat power rate, or his passive power gain. I'm inflicting the withers by evading, and normally you're able to do this. Stack a bunch of withers underneath his name there, and his power should start reversing or draining, but his ability bypasses that if you're not a Mystic champion. And then I finish off the fight here with Mole Man. Mole Man, he's not the best option, but he's got guaranteed critical hits, so he can maybe nuke him down quickly. But yeah, guys, that is the fight. Let me know how you guys did. Let me know what kind of counters that you came up with. What worked really good for you guys. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, take care and peace.